Without a doubt, Hive and CubeCraft are two of the biggest Minecraft bedrock servers, but which one is better, I ask you? Which one do you guys think is the better one out of the two? Personally, I mostly play on the Hive. I used to play a lot on CubeCraft. In fact, in the video where I'm telling the story on how I shook the Oklahoman governor's hand, that gameplay is CubeCraft Egg Wars, which I usually call the treasures in Treasure Wars eggs because of that. So you can see that I'm a really big fan of both of these servers. But I moved over to the Hive when the CubeCraft ping was just too much for me to handle. I mean, I like both of these servers equally. They each have their own quirks that make them special, just like kids. But I don't like kids. I like both of these servers, and I'm going to try to be as unbiased as possible. But like I said, both of these servers have things that the other one doesn't, like the ping on CubeCraft. It just would not be CubeCraft without that high ping baby. So out of the two servers, Hive is the bigger one by around 10,000-ish people. At one time, the max player count on the Hive reached to 90k people, if I'm remembering right, you know? Which, that's a lot of people. That's a ton of people. And as for CubeCraft, I don't quite know how many, like, the max amount of players that have been on CubeCraft. But either way, usually on CubeCraft you'll see around 40,000 players each day. Roughly, you know, it fluctuates a bit per day, you know. Sometimes it's a bit higher, sometimes it is a bit lower. And as for the Hive, usually you'll find about 50,000-ish players on there. So that's about the average that both of the servers have. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes it is a bit higher, sometimes it is a bit lower. As for the minigames, both of the servers have the basic minigames that every server comes with, you know. Survival games, Bed Wars, which is just Treasure Wars on the Hive, and Egg Wars on CubeCraft. And then Sky Wars, which it's a whole lot more different on the Hive than it is on CubeCraft. But you know, I like that difference, you know, it's a lot more unique. But overall, CubeCraft does have more games, and the games that it does have are pretty solid. Both of these servers do have really solid games. But in terms of quality, I just don't think that CubeCraft Sky Wars is as good as the Hive Sky Wars. CubeCraft Sky Wars is really basic, you know, it's Sky Wars, but like the Dollar Tree version of Sky Wars, right? Overall, really basic and doesn't add too much to the table, doesn't it? Now, Treasure Wars and Egg Wars, being on the Hive and CubeCraft respectively, don't really add that much to the game mode, considering they are Bed Wars, you know, clones. Besides the TNT boxes on the Hive, they don't really add too much, and I'd really like to see them add more things such as potions and stuff like that. Now, I am pretty sure that they do have potions and stuff like that on Egg Wars, but they are really expensive and cost emeralds, which take a long time to get, and let's be honest, no one ever uses them. Now let's move on to survival games. No one really plays survival games anymore, and if you grew up watching Minecraft like I did, you'll know that survival games is just like a big thing to make back in like 2013, 2014-ish, right? Kinda sad to see that like no one plays these game modes anymore, but they've all really just been phased out by these battle royale games. As for which version of survival games is the better one, obviously the Hive, because they have so many more mechanics, so many more things to do. The maps, they're really good. I'm pretty happy that they did add that new map though, because the old maps, they all looked about the same, and they were all getting pretty stale. The maps on CubeCraft are a lot more unique than they are on the Hive. On the Hive, they're all somewhat based in reality, besides the newest map, which I can't really remember the name of. But on CubeCraft, you do have like a cake map, right? You do have like a dinosaur map, you know, all sorts of other maps. Those are really the only two I remember. But in terms of maps, I think that CubeCraft has the better, you know, maps, but Hive has the better gameplay. Now, I'm really only going to be going over those 3 game modes in this video since CubeCraft has a lot of game modes that the Hive doesn't. And I do plan on making a video about the FFA game mode because it's one of the better game modes that I've played in general. If you haven't played the FFA game mode on CubeCraft, I really suggest you do it. It's really good. Now let's move on to the in-game community. Now, I do think that the Hive just flat out wins in this category because if you type in the chat, it's a lot more likely that you'll see someone typing in chat too. When I used to play on CubeCraft, I would chat all the time, and I would rarely ever get a response. But I mean, I've made a lot of online friends on the Hive, and so I do think that the Hive does have a better community than CubeCraft. But in the FFA game mode, which I was talking about earlier, they do have a lot of people who chat in it. I have gone into the FFA game mode and seen a lot of people just hanging out, you know? The reason why I really like the FFA game mode is because it's just like a whole lobby that people can just chill out in, you know, have a bit of PvP and, you know, hang out. So for what it's worth, CubeCraft can have that community aspect that I was talking about. Now let's talk about things that I do and don't like about each of the servers. Let's start with the Hive. One thing that I really like with the Hive is that they have a lot of hubs. Listen, every once in a while for, you know, special occasions or holidays, right? They'll change up the hub, and it's just this whole brand new experience. You can just go explore this thing. If you're not really feeling PvP, or you're waiting for a friend to get online, just explore the hub for a little bit. And these things are like, I don't know how to do it. I have no idea how they do it. But every single time, they just look really good. They look really hot, you know? And while they do stick to a specific blueprint every single time, let me just say, the hub on CubeCraft, garbage, dog water, you know what this is? This is basic. This is empty. You can explore this, but why would you? It kinda sucks, not gonna lie. And I mean, which hub is better is up to your opinion, right? But personally, I think that the Hive hub is tons better than the CubeCraft hub. Feel free to disagree if you disagree, right? But you know, the Hive hub, it just looks good. And I can't even imagine how it would look with shaders, honestly. When I upgrade my graphics card, this little baby, my computer right there. You know, when I upgrade my graphics card, I'm gonna, you know, stick a 970 or something in there, right? And no, that isn't an innuendo. A 970 is a graphics card. No dirty talk. Get your mind out of the gutter. And I don't really have any negatives for the Hive either. It's a perfectly fine server. I guess if I have to nitpick, it's a bit bigger, so, you know, there are more cheaters on there, slightly. But cheaters are a thing that, like, every single server has to deal with, so I guess it's not really that big of a deal, you know? Now, I wanted to originally make a video on this problem that I had with CubeCraft, but honestly, it's just a problem that, you know, it makes me angry that it's a problem, but, you know, it's not really worth a video, right? And it's the fact that when you buy a rank, you can choose, you know, 3 different types of difficulty, I guess, on, you know, Egg Wars or, like, Sky Wars, right? And what really makes me angry is that when people pick hardcore mode, because I don't know what the CubeCraft people were thinking, you know? Oh yeah, let's get a game mode that makes the game less fun for everyone, you know? Every single time that I used to get hardcore mode, whenever people would vote for it, I would just leave the server and play on the Hive. It has got to be one of the worst things you could possibly think of adding into a server, because it doesn't make the game fun. It doesn't make it better. It makes it so everything is really expensive in Egg Wars, and so that you have to, like, waste so many minutes, so much of your time, just to get some armor. And basic armor, you know? Leather armor, right? So much time just to get leather armor. Now, there are 3 difficulties, right? Hardcore, which is the one that I absolutely hate, you know? Overpowered, which I also dislike, but I can deal with it. And then normal mode, which, you know, it's fine, I like it, it's not bad. It's the mode that I prefer to play on. And like I said, hardcore mode just makes the game less fun. It makes it take so much longer. So why would they add it? That's gotta be my biggest problem with CubeCraft. I can understand why they have bad ping issues. They don't have a server in North America. I can deal with it to some extent, right? But when you add constantly bad ping issues, and guess what? This whole voting thing, which most of the time just makes the games less fun, that's just not good. CubeCraft would have more players and a lot more, you know, traffic to their, you know, server, if they put a server here in North America, which I get costs money. Maintaining and opening a server costs cash, right? There's just this untapped potential in the US for like CubeCraft, right? If they opened a server, I would play on it so much more. And if they remove that stupid voting thing for hardcore mode, right? I would actually kiss CubeCraft, right? I would give him a hug, right? Now, I've been pretty negative on CubeCraft so far, right? You know, I'll admit, I got a bit angry there, right? But one thing that CubeCraft has over the Hive is a lot more variety in games, right? Like I said, CubeCraft has more games than the Hive, which I like that. As of the moment that I'm recording this, Hive only has 7 games, which if you ask me, that's not a lot of games, man. The following games are survival games, Treasure Wars, Sky Wars, Murder Mystery, Death Run, Hide and Seek, and just Build. And they aren't bad, they're really good. CubeCraft has more games than the Hive, and that's where I think CubeCraft outshines the Hive. And since CubeCraft has more games than the Hive, I definitely do think that if they did add that one server here in the US, that they would get so many more players, right? And who knows, maybe one day, servers on Bedrock Edition will have just as big of a following as servers on Java Edition. So to answer the question, which of the 2 biggest servers is the better one? Personally, I think it's the Hive. You may have a different opinion, that's completely fine. This is a free country, that is if you're living in America. To all those freedom haters out in Europe, Lamau. But no, in all reality, I really do think that the Hive is a better server of the 2, you know? It doesn't have as many mini-games as CubeCraft, and CubeCraft certainly does have its own mini-games that I really like. FFA. But in the end, the Hive is a better community and richer games, right? More content in the games. Not only that, but there are a lot more content creators on the Hive than on CubeCraft, including me, you know? As always, why is it so windy outside? You know what, I'm keeping this in the video. You know, I live in Oklahoma, right? And, we got a lot of wind, guys. It's just way too much wind. So, this is like I was saying before the wind rudely interrupted my intro. I don't even know if you can hear that. I don't know if you can hear that. I hope you don't. I hope the recording doesn't pick this up. But, like I was saying, all my social media and the things that I've used in the video, as well as the music, are down in the description. So if you want to see that, and you want to follow me, that'd be pretty hot.